What's up, everybody? Happy Friday Eve to you. Today is Thursday, September 12th, 2019. You know what time it is. It's time to reflect. I had the LL Cool J thing going, licking my lips. Let's reflect. So listen, it has been a week, but that's what reflecting is about. I remember when I was pastoring a church in North Jersey for 8 years. I throw that out there because I had to encourage myself that I stayed in there 8 years a slave, praise God. But I remember that one of my favorite places to stand, we were at our first location, was in the back of the sanctuary, standing on these brick stairs that led to the emergency exit, so that I could reflect and so that I can literally observe everything that was going on. So that is why I do this every single week. Thursdays I start to reflect on all the lessons, all the principles, and all the stories and the treasures that I've gained. And sometimes to reflect and to observe, it can be painful. To look at what has happened during the week and perhaps where the root may be and where it may have come from, which can be weeks prior, months, years prior to what I'm experiencing now. And I think a recurring theme in my life has often been, man, these issues with blood relatives. And this week, man, I went through something else and it blew my mind. And again, I believe that it's not necessarily appropriate always to talk about things that are even true, because that can be gossip as well. Gossip doesn't have to be things that are false, but sometimes there are things that are true that don't need to be spoken about either. But this is my diary, this is my vlog, this is my blog, and I don't throw names out there, but if you have purchased my book, Crackling is When You Don't Wipe, you hear me talk about certain things, even with blood relatives, but I don't go into detail. Sometimes, well, most of the time, I didn't go into detail because it's not my purpose to embarrass people, because I don't think that God wants to embarrass us, so why should we try to embarrass or shame one another? However, there are principles and lessons that I believe that God teaches me and has me experience, in things that He walks me through, so that I can share with you what the appropriate response or the biblical response should be. So this week, it came to my attention a couple weeks ago that a blood relative, so many things that I have written, that I've posted on social media, and some of them are even my book, that he was taking many of these things and putting it on his social media and publishing as his own thoughts. And we can be inspired, and I really do believe that inspiration is fine until inspiration becomes duplication. And when people who know both of us brought it to my attention, I was more so concerned, because I said, okay, you're walking in a place of authority that God wants to give you greater influence. Hey, you might want to not do this, because we know a lot of the same people and people are watching. We want to make sure that we're setting an example. And he blocked me on social media. And I think that it has been a recurring theme in my life. Like, why do people do things to me? Do blood relatives treat me a certain type of way? And I'll say it. I'll be the one to say it. Cameraman won't say it, I'll say it. Why do blood relatives feel like they can treat me however way they want to, and sometimes in ways that don't represent the love of God? And I've been there. If you read my book, you'll see. But then when I respond and react, I'm the bad guy. I'm the wrong one. This is a thought that came to my mind. But I don't wallow in defeat, and I just shared with some people that I hung out with over the weekend that I allowed myself to flip out for 2 minutes. That's it. Then I flipped the script. That's what David did. He would be complaining and focusing on his situation, but then he would switch gears mid-sentence and say, but bless the Lord. Jeremiah did it in Lamentations. He said, when I consider my homeless condition, it's like bitter poison. Flip the script, but then I focus on this one thing, God's unfailing love. And I was talking to some people this weekend. I told them that that's what I have to do. So yes, that is the reality of what I've gone through. Like, daggone it, these blood relatives, they keep on treating me this way. But then what is more important to me, and again, it's part of that servant leadership side of me, that I'm concerned. So I was concerned, and that's why I reached out to this blood relative, my cousin, to say this to him. And then he blocked me, and I said, wow, over nothing. And then I even had to write him back, and I said, you know what, hey, I just want you to walk in your divine authenticity. I want you to find your voice. That's what I had to do in my own life. I had to find my own voice and know that God wanted to use my voice, that God wanted to give me some original thoughts, that God wanted to give me some original ideas, and you can do that as well. So here's the point. We don't know how that's going to resolve. Whatever. I'm over it. But I think about this. I think about Genesis chapter 50. Joseph had gone through some things with his brothers. If you know Genesis and if you know Joseph's story, you'll know what he experienced at the hand of his family. But in Genesis chapter 50, his brothers were concerned. Yeah, they was itching like I was just doing. His brothers were concerned. They said, oh my gosh, what if he does to us what we did to him? What if he now tries to pay us back for all the wrong we've done to him? What if he's holding a grudge? Joseph told them, he said, listen, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, so that many lives would be saved, so that many lives would be helped. And I think that even when we go through family dilemma and we go through situations, and yes, it is often the people that are closest to us that can do the most damage. It is often the people that are in our families who are the last to realize who we are and respect what God has called us to do. But even in the midst of it all, what others mean for evil and meant for evil, God meant it for good. That God will take all those broken pieces, that God will take all of those things and all those curses that have been issued against you. And God said, listen, I'm going to still turn that thing around to work for good. Because the good news about the bad news is that it all works together for good. And I believe that I'm the type of person is black or white, no gray. And if someone is not doing things and operating so that there will be blessing, it has to be that they're operating so that there will be curse. It's black or white, no gray, no in between. The Bible says that your words kill or they give life. Same thing with our actions, that we have to be intentional. So what are the actions of others doing? And in my case, oftentimes my story has been that blood relatives have not been operating to bring blessing to my life, so that I will be blessed and leave an inheritance, generational blessing. But they have been doing things so there will be curse. But it all works out for good. And like Joseph, man, I'm not holding a grudge, and I really pray that you apply the same principle here. Someone told me a few months ago, they said that family drama or family jealousy or family doing things to take you down is often the prerequisite for greatness. And that's my story, and I get it. When you come to understand that, man, holding a grudge is not an option. Walking around with unforgiveness is not an option. Listen, I said it recently that I never knew that peace like this existed. It's mainly because, listen, I have, just as my Father has forgiven me, I have forgiven others. And oftentimes before people even get a chance to apologize, I've already prayed that God would forgive them, and that they would learn to forgive themselves, and even that they would know that I forgive them as well. So, many lessons in this little reflect, but this is, my little story as I reflect on my week, that no matter what it is, even when blood relatives act against you, what others meant for evil, God meant it for good. We have to see the full picture, see things from a helicopter view, and say thank you. So whatever lessons you've learned this week, say thank you. Whatever difficulties you've gone through this week, say thank you, because it all works out for your good, and hopefully you will see this and everything you've gone through as an opportunity for other lives to be helped. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you, and I'll talk to you real soon. Share this with somebody. Bless somebody.